Greetings, sunshines and sunny cities. I, Queen J Lotus King Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, for an artist esoteric analysis. So, of course, you see we have here Miss Tamar, esteemed Braxton. And you might know that there's quite a few things going on and been going on with your girl. I was really supposed to do this reading some months ago, but you know what they say. You want to hear God laugh? Tell them your plans. They had been getting to go to do the reading, but just kept stalling me up. So I understand why at this point. And we're going to get deeper into it as we go through it. So for this first part here, we are really going to be focused on esoterically and or spiritually analyzing Tamar as a being, as a person, as a woman, all of the things. So this is where we start off by me asking spirit to show me the truth of her higher self, the truth of her shadow self, aka her lower self, and the overall sum up of things. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of these cards. So first things first, on the realist, drop this and let the whole world feel it. Let them feel it. Hey, but for real. So straight on into the nitty gritty with it. The two cards that we are first focusing on are those that are there in the middle right side up, with the tower being to the left of them and the nine of swords being to the right of them. And I want y'all to pay very close attention to the color scheme of this layout. Also, I want to add that the picture that I ended up choosing for Tamar, I felt it fit the essence of the two cards that came out, but it didn't even really occur to me how much the coloration of her picture complements and kind of matches and merges with the coloration of the layout. Okay, so peep the synchronicity going on here. I also want to start off by indicating that Tamar is a Pisces, so we will be keeping the zodiac energies in mind as well as we go through. Now, ain't gonna waste no more time. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. So, like I said, I asked first for the divine realm to show me the truth of Tamar Braxton's higher self. Tamar esteemed Braxton, higher self. Also, a side note, esteem sounds a lot like esteem. That just occurred to me. That's important. So just keep it in mind. Anyway, so the card that came out when I asked for the divine realm to show me the truth of her higher self, she got the Tower card. Also, I'm specify too that I use the Mystic Monday Tarot deck for this, as it correlates with not only her being a water sign, but also the essence of like emotion and things of that nature. She gives a very watery, very emotional, very sensual type of energy. Very much so feels. So yeah, things to keep in mind, because the interesting thing about this deck is the complexities of perspective. So she got the Tower card as the truth of her higher self. And this can be very easy to demonize. Keep that in mind, right? And when this card came out, I was hearing, not just when this card came out, because there are two other cards that I'm going to indicate. Let me go ahead and throw them up there. So the two new cards that you see just pop up on the screen there, they are from the Earth Warrior Oracle. And I also brought this deck into play with the acknowledgement of the fact that the Tower card is a major arcana card. And I was getting very like high rank type energy, like high ranking bloodline energy off of this. And I wanted to make very sure that the energies and things that I was getting from this card were, correctly in alignment. Because rightfully so, this is very polarizing, and it makes sense as to why she herself is extremely polarizing. So, from the Earth Warrior deck, we have Pono Pono and Padma Sundari. The Pono Pono card is 27. That number combination is the number 9. 2 is the number of relationships, duality, partnerships, love, and the number 7 is the number of karma. It's a karmic number, and it's a number of milestones. It's also a number of luck. And certain times and places, luck and karma can be used interchangeably. And so that number combination equates to the number 9, which is the number of endings. And the Tower card, see how I was about to say death card? The Tower card has to do with drastic endings, like domino effects of endings, huge endings, and not just ending, but like catastrophic out with a bang ass endings. Makes sense, huh? So you see again that synchronicity going on there. Pono Pono, this card reads off immeasurable power of the heartway. And I'm gonna read a bit of its description from the book, but right off rip, this card has a lot to do with the way that you extend love and experience love with other people, how it reflects your sense of self-love, as well as the roots of love that you come from. Very karmic shit. Very karmic shit. All right, so From the book, it reads, the heart has the power to heal in a way that the mind cannot understand. Do not allow your mind to distract or frighten you. You are a beautiful child of the universe, and divine love lives within your heart. A willing heart is all that you need to transform any situation that is troubling you. Recognizing this power does not evoke feelings of pressure or anxiety, but rather of peace and joy. Lightness of the heart and relief of mind are here for you now. And the prayer section of this card has a 4-step process of telling yourself and or the symbolism of whoever else you have conflict with, telling them sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And there is the direction and emphasis to direct this energy towards yourself first. What I also want to point out about this is a lot of those indications about the mind creating noise in the heart space. Because when we're dealing with the Tower card here, and it's going to be something else very specific that ends up being pointed out as well about this, but when we get into the Tower card also has to do with literally like buildings, including homes. So it has to do with like workplaces, the literal constructs of it, as well as the constructs of the laws, regulations, protocols, chains of command, things of that nature, principles, and things like that. Also keep in mind that Pisces sister sign is Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury and has a lot to do with the mentality, the mind, logic, being very, 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 very mindful and being too logical, being too mindful. And it's very important to understand. Spirit is telling me to emphasize and remind people that like a lot of the times people like to combat philosophy and or a lot of philosophical conversations, theories, ideals, and things of that nature by saying, I'm logical, I think logical about this, I'm being logical about this. But that would also mean that a lot of people don't know that logic is also a philosophy. Logic is also a philosophy. So it is unstable to always try to combat and dismiss every single thing that is, otherworldly and thought of so blatantly as philosophical because it's so esoteric maybe, or it's so woo, or whatever what have you, when logic is also a philosophy. Okay? And so the energy of this is having a lot to do with the multidimensionality of truth and how multiple things are inevitably true at once. And this has a lot to do with the way that Tamar is, the construct of her being. She is walking multidimensionality is what this is given. Another thing about that is she comes from a family, in this lifetime specifically, she comes from a family that is filled with like earth and air signs, as well as fire. She might be, I'm thinking about the sisters that she has specifically. I'm not sure the brother's birthday, but I do know Tony is a Libra. Tracy was an Aries, if I'm not mistaken. Trina is a Sagittarius, if I'm not mistaken. Mama Evelyn is a Capricorn. And Tawanda, which also is the sister that she has the most conflict with, is a Virgo. And what did I just say? Virgo and Pisces are sister signs. And they are sisters in real life. So, that being said too, air signs are also a very mercurial, very all up in the mental, all up in the mind. And too much of anything is not a good thing. So if you're excessively in your feelings, that's not good. That can cause chaos. And if you're excessively mental about everything, that can also cause chaos and stagnation and things of that nature. So that just, brings up a lot of understanding to how and why she's had a lot of conflict in her family, and specifically with Tawanda. So yeah, all of that being said, this has created a long-ass karmic cycle of the heart versus the mind, not just in her external, but also in her internal. So, getting over to the Padma Sundari card, out of darkness, the light is born. Also pay attention to the fact that Pono Pono was 2-7. This one is 1-7, 17. And so number 1 is new beginnings, wholeness, independence, things of that nature. And again, we just talked about the number 7. This number combination equates to the number 8, which is the number of infinity, which is also the number of generational karma, and generational pathologies, and all of that. Tisk. And like I said, it reads off, out of darkness, the light is born. And when this card first came out, I was just steadily hearing biblical, and getting those confirmations and clarifications that Tamar's existence is very biblical. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Tamar also I don't want to say character, but I guess like a character from the Bible? Ain't Tamar a person in the Bible? She has a story in the Bible? That's nothing's a coincidence, okay? But so, with this, straight off rip, it's most certainly given that like a lot of the conflict and turmoil and darkness and all of that Tamar has experienced and gone through and all of that, even if it's certain things that, she brought on herself or all of that, it was like meant to happen. It was in the stars for it to happen, as well as, I keep hearing late bloomer as well. It's also meant for her. It's always been meant for her to be a late bloomer, because Tamar, I keep hearing also testimony. She is a like biblical type of testimony. So Spirit has definitely exalted her. Like, it's always meant for her to be exalted in this type of way, be it fame or infamy. That's what it's given. It's always meant for her to be who she is. And for I'm saying this, I'm hearing the sun will come out tomorrow, like because I keep hearing and seeing it's always been meant for her to officially bloom by the time she reaches like middle age. So that's very, very interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and read a bit from this card from the book, the description of this card from the book. Let me get to the page. Hey, let me get to the page. Where we at with it? Oh, 17 on your chest. Hey, okay. The light is powerful enough to survive exposure to the darker side of humanity and remain pure, empowered, and effective. Trust in your spiritual purpose as a light in this world. Trust particularly in your ability to bring purity, order, grace, and light to disorder, chaos, and destruction. The divine is ever by your side and ever within your heart, assisting you with this higher purpose in all ways. And so, like, that also indicates and clarifies that even that card specifically, like the Earth Warrior deck in general is of, high rank energy. But that card is one of a few in the deck that are considered more high ranking than others. They come out specifically for people who are high rank spirits AF. So polarizing as she is one way or another, she is a royal spirit. Because like I said, this deck is high rank energy, period, but there are certain cards within the deck that only come out for specially chosen high ranking spirits. So yeah, the prayer attached to this card is: I call upon divine grace and unconditional love to show me truth and creative solutions, empowered by divine wisdom for all matters in my life, including, mention anything particular or specific here that you would like to help to resolve or heal. That's in parentheses. May all beings know and be blessed, assisted, and empowered by the Divine Mother to fulfill their purpose and potential. And so all of that said too, in a nutshell, Tamar's higher self is reading off to be a homewrecker. And I'm not talking about fucking on married men. Because when those cards came out, I kept hearing homewrecker. But it's not like I said, it's not particularly in the sense of what is meant by like fucking on married men and all of that. And believe me, I'm gonna have a video dedicated specifically to that, rumor, whatever, what have you, to see what Spirit has to say about it. Is it true? Is it not? What is it? All of that. But staying focused, this homewrecker energy is more so, she is walking karma in the way that it means her presence, her way of being, who she is meant to destruct homes that shouldn't have been built in the first place. It's meant to destruct constructs that should have never been constructed in the first place. And also to clarify more about the meaning of the Padma Sundari card, specifically, a part of Tamar's existence is, and this is something I'm picking up on her past life as well, which is, I'm hearing her existence in this lifetime, and a large part of her purpose, especially for like the first half of her life, has been her in a living purgatory. She's been in a living purgatory, and this has not only been a test of her soul, but also a test of other people's souls that have crossed her paths, that have interacted with her and exchanged energy with her one way or another. Spirit put her in specific position and in specific circumstances, gave her specific challenges, ailments, things of that nature, to see how she and others would use their free will, but specifically to see how others would utilize their free will. Are they going to be graceful to her, or are they going to harshly judge her and attack her and dogpile on her in her phase of, in her process of like building? Are they going to kick her while she's down? Are they going to take advantage of her vulnerability? Are they going to take advantage of, how pitiful they may think that she is, or how pitiful she may come off? Are they going to be loving to her for real? Are they going to lead with love? What is the weight of their heart? And that just reminded me too that the Justice card is present here. We're going to get to it, but it just reminded me too that the Justice card is present in the layout, which makes a hell of a lot of sense, because like I said, and like, based on reading the cards and the energy and all of that, Tamar is walking generational karma in the way that her presence and her purpose in this life, at least for the first half of her life, is to deconstruct homes that should have never been formed in the first place, as well as exposing like vampires, leeches, things of that nature, hyena type spirits, people who see vulnerability and or pure heartness and attack it, and or people who see others in transition. That's the word, transition, like seeing people going through a specific transition and judging it harshly. And I'm also hearing like, ooh, child, and we're gonna get deeper into the things, but I am hearing already that there are a lot of people that have some bad karma coming to them because honestly they just didn't allow themselves to see, and because like they got honey. So I'm gonna say it like this. Like I just said, like the first half of her life has been a very, very long transition period. It's like she was born into transition. And like I said, this living purgatory. So like I said, it's a lot of people who have like gone out of their way to judge her so harshly and critically. And be clear, judging someone doesn't mean just having a thought or opinion about them. Judging someone means what you're saying. You're saying they deserve this and that to happen to them, or you go out of your way to make whatever you think should happen to them as a result of your thoughts and opinions. Like a judge sentences people to jail as a result of their thought and opinion on the situation that was presented to them through the case. You feel me? So again, judging someone is not simply having a thought or opinion. It's you declaring, oh, this should happen to you because I think this about you. This should happen to you because I feel this way about you. And or I think this about you, so I'm gonna beat your ass. Or I think this about you, so I'm gonna gather up a whole bunch of people to attack you. I'm gonna gather up a whole bunch of people to stone you to death. That's a form of judgment. You carrying out judgment based on your thought and opinion. It's a form of hubris. Okay? So, child. It's like amongst that, she's also a walking test. Oh, interesting, right? Very, very interesting. So, a lot of that will be, elaborated upon as we go throughout the rest of the reading, and will also be kept in mind and considered as we go throughout, all of the other parts of the reading as well. So yeah, child. Now getting on over to what Spirit says the truth of her lower self is. And over there we have the 9 of Swords. There's that good old number 9 again. Also, gotta point out that the Sword suit is the air sign suit, which can also be considered the Mercurial suit. Has a lot to do also with communication, again, meeting of the minds, mindfulness, things of that nature, strategy, all that. So her lower self, shadow self, being represented with the 9 of Wands definitely has to do with a depressive type of functionality and like cross to bear. And if I'm not mistaken, she has been clinically diagnosed with some form of depression. I think it's manic depression or something, but I do believe she's been clinically clinically diagnosed with depression. And this card is like one of the cards that can indicate that type of thing. And so yeah, it can also indicate other types of mental ailments, mental challenges, and or emotional ailments, things that are spiritual ailments. Also, I'm hearing like kind of being born with monkeys on your back, being born with generational curses on you. And if you look at the imagery of the card, it aligns, even as it specifically applies to the specific imagery of the card in this particular deck. You can see all of those swords all over her head. You can see it. It's like kind of on her shoulders type shit, her posture and all of this, very much like bowed up, fetal position type shit, tormented. So in a nutshell, like very simply stated, I really don't have to spend too much time on this card because this is indicating, of course, she has her lower self is depressive and gets really wrapped up in dwelling in negative emotion, negative happenings, traumas. This is also kind of giving that she may have situational depression as well, which means that it's extra hard for her to get past certain situations that happen. She may end up playing it over and 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 over again in her head, trying to figure out what happened. And the emotional overwhelm from it can also cause like blockages from her being able to, one, see it clearly, as well as release it and or release herself from the torment of the situation. Like it's just extra hard for her to break through like traumatic and or dramatic, hurtful things that end up happening, especially if it's things that are beyond her control. And like I said, not only is this card indicating, but I'm also picking up on it in the energy that she very likely has mental ailments as well as spiritual ailments that are like very much so beyond her control. I'm not gonna lie. Tamar may really need some sort of deep spiritual cleanse, like really deep spiritual cleanse, because I am picking up that like there's some past life frequencies also, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but I'm picking up this energy, I'm gonna say allegedly, that one of her parents might also like send her evil eye, and has been sending her evil eye since like before she was born. And this can be mindless. This can have to do with, so I'm just gonna be real about what I'm saying and what I'm sensing and picking up on. Allegedly, okay? But just based on the channeling and my understanding of my gifts and the cards and all of that shit, it's very likely that her mother had a very tumultuous pregnancy when she was pregnant with her. And I really feel like her mama hasn't mindfully, intentionally been sending her evil eye energy and things of that nature. I really feel like it's mindless. I really feel like it's just like something in her mama is not nipped in the bud, and so therefore her habitual response is like has been sending Tamar evil eye, like subconsciously blaming Tamar for the turmoil that she experienced while she was pregnant with her. And that also has to do with this stronghold on Tamar's on her mental, her emotional, and her spiritual being, and a part of why it's been so hard for her to break through things. Now, the combination of the two cards, and that's where we get into the Justice card that is at the bottom, because I asked for the overall truth of her being. So she got the Justice card sideways, and this ties very, very, very heavily as well, back to the elements of the Tower card as it concerns how it represents her higher self, which is a very harsh lesson and very heavy cross to bear that Tamar has in this life, is taking responsibility for hurt that she didn't cause, and specifically hurt that she feels, hurt and pain that has been inflicted upon her. It's a very, 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 very long road. And again, how it came up, it's like the whole first half of her life has been loads and loads and loads of people dogpiling, trauma dumping on her, trying to bully her, violating her, abusing her, all of the things. And there also being some people in the midst that she misdirected her energy at. But in general, in a nutshell, Tamar has been on a long road of warfare, like multi-dimensional warfare, mental warfare, spiritual warfare, emotional warfare, like for real. And a harsh reality, and like I said, very heavy cross to bear of hers, is having to accept apologies that she won't ever get, and having to do the most to go deeply within herself. And that's also what the Pono card was expressing and talking about, having to go extensively deep inside of herself to forgive people and herself, but specifically forgive people who won't ever be sorry. Whoo, child. And so that's why this Justice card is sideways. And it's also correlating with the boundaries card at the top. Has, it has another question that I asked with it, but it's coming up and merging with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and be obedient to the flow. That's why it's also been such a long ass road of her trying to figure out the boundaries of taking responsibility, how to take responsibility and accountability without taking responsibility and accountability for other people's actions all at the same time. Because there's also been this long road of dealing with, and I'm picking this up, victim blaming in like true abusive and bullying situations that she's had. Her trying to take accountability for her own part, but then at certain points it coming out warped where she's blaming herself for things they did to her, which is not fair. And so again, a very, very long road of, and this is why a huge lesson as it concerns Tamar's existence overall, her existence, how she relates to herself, as well as how other people relate to her, and like a huge lesson that I'm hearing Spirit say is to take from her, in observing her, is grace. And I'm hearing that those people who are graceful to her and will be graceful to her and that have been graceful to her, those people get blessed on the back end and will be blessed on the back end. I'm also, child, I'm picking up, oh y'all, that damn card blending in so good, I almost forgot it was there. Let me address the perfect timing. Let me address that Four of Pentacles in reverse, because that is looping in exactly what I'm saying here. The Four of Pentacles in reverse has a lot to do with, especially in this case, has a lot to do with generosity. The Four of Pentacles in general has a lot to do with like test of faith as it concerns generosity, wealth, things of that nature. Because right side up, it can indicate penny pinching, and in reverse, it can indicate someone being generous and or someone being overly generous. So again, those things also correlate with the frequency of grace and this is bringing up a part of Tamar's shadow self is overly giving. So it's given to, ooh, it's bringing up Gucci Mane and some of what him and his wife was talking about, this type of thing. That is tapping into even more like how and why she's a walking test as well, walking karma in the way that she's set up in certain positions that end up exposing, that end up being heavily on the frequency of temptation, right? Meant to tempt people to be either vultures and hyenas coming in feeding on the deaths of her, the downfalls of her, and or are you going to give her a leg up? Are you going to help her? Are you going to give her grace? Even if you don't, reach in to give a helping hand, because sometimes you are supposed to just let people, go through what they go through and save themselves. But also, even if you do so, understanding that you also don't have to kick them while they're down. You don't have to down talk them. There is the other option of simply stepping back and releasing them to the Most High, right? So all of that being said, what comes up also specifically with this Four of Coins in reverse is in alignment and attachment with like a lot of whatever the mental illnesses, mental ailments, challenges and such that she's had and or has, is that when Tamar is in despair, she starts giving stuff away. It just starts to happen. She just starts to feel it's coming. I'm hearing it coming from a place of her feeling like she doesn't deserve anything. Like when she gets in these places, she starts feeling like she doesn't deserve anything, and she starts just giving stuff away. She starts just inviting people out, paying for stuff and buying stuff for them and giving them money, sending them money, giving them things of hers and whatnot. And a lot of people have come in and just taken whatever, knowing and sensing and seeing the pattern too of this coming from a place of emotional despair and knowing that she's not in her right mind, she doesn't have her wits about herself, and they take advantage and they just take and take and take and take and take. And I'm hearing that there have been, a select couple of people, few and far between, that have, uplifted her and come to her like, hey, Tamar, hey, what are you doing? Like, don't give all of your stuff away. Don't, what are you doing? Don't you think you're going to like want that stuff? Don't you think you want to like do something else with that or something? Like trying to redirect her. And again, in certain points, there have been people that's like, realized that they had to take their hands off of it because she would respond like, this is what I have to do. Respond in some way that is not well, one way or another, that indicates that she's very not well at that point. But these particular people would like step back and just pray for her, and or they'll go buy her something, or try to do something nice for her or something like that. And you may start to notice soon certain people like that start coming out and speaking up for her, and also like telling their stories, like good stories, like good testimonial stories of interactions with her. And I'm hearing vindication, so she may experience she may start experiencing some vindication soon from some of these like select few. But I'm hearing impactful people that have witnessed this type of thing about her. So very, very interesting. And again, it ties very deeply into that justice card and the double-edged sword of justice and the long road that she's had of trying to differentiate what is justice, what is justified, what is power, what is accountability, what is responsibility, and how is it meant to be distributed in general and specifically for her as her life purpose and all of that. Now, as we get into the upper cards, I asked Spirit to just tell us any extra truths that should be highly considered about Tamar's mind, body, and soul nature. So in a more simplistic form, what is the truth of Tamar's mind, body, and soul's nature? And so, as I already addressed, she has the boundaries card sideways. And I pretty much already elaborated on the fact that a part of her nature is being a test of boundaries, seeing how other people are going to use their free will, as well as like trying to, the divine realm, the world, and her higher self, as well as her lower self, trying to push her to the point of getting to a true sense of boundaries. I'm gonna read off what the card says. It says, I'm going to push your boundaries, and it's up to you if you let me. So that's the double-edged sword of her nature and her existence in this lifetime, and a large part of her life's purpose and what she represents in this lifetime, which is that huge karmic test, her being a huge walking karmic test of are you going to take advantage of her boundaries, as well as her being tested and saying, are you going to become what you despise? Are you going to become what you despise, or are you going to go deep within yourself to own your truth? Okay, and so with that, she also has, and I think this is so, honestly, I think this is beautiful as fuck, the full circle of it all, the way that the other card that she has is love. Because that was heavily in the Pono card, as well as the Padma Sundari card, but also specifically the Pono card had a lot to do with healing through the frequency of true love. And so this card is confirming and affirming that a huge part of her nature, a huge truth of her mind, body, and soul's nature is love. True love, the true love frequency. So again, that also makes sense why she comes off so polarizing, as well as extremely heartfelt, whether it's overly heartfelt one way or another, because She represents the frequency of true love, and a huge part of true love is unconditional grace. And Spirit wants to clarify with that as well that everybody is not entitled to unconditional grace. There are certain spirits, certain, people, we all are spirits. So let me clarify that in case you ain't know. So when I say, what I'm saying, I'm referring to also people, okay? There are certain spirits, and this is literally channeling through here. Spirit is emphasizing, there are certain spirits that you have to cut off your grace for. There are certain times and places where you're dealing with certain spirits and you have to know when to stop being graceful, and or you have to discern if they are meant to receive grace from you or not. Maybe they are meant to receive grace from other people, but not you. But as it's coming up here in this reading, Tamar is a spirit that is meant to receive unconditional grace. She has just first had to go through this extremely long road and all of this warfare to get to the point of claiming that in herself, claiming unconditional grace for herself. And the more that she claims that, the more it's going to start to reflect. The more you will start to see certain people coming out and speaking out on her behalf. You will start to see the sun come out tomorrow. See it? Full circle. It came back around. What goes around comes back around. That's that karmic energy. Bruh, I can't make this shit up. I cannot make this shit up. I felt the chill come through as well once that's said. But yes, you may start to see very soon that like the sun come out on a lot of situations that she's been involved in, and that sun will be representing vindication in her favor. Okay, but also it's also important to emphasize that this is not coming without her taking accountability for her own healing. And so that being said, being the fact that the Justice card is here sideways with the head going to the left, the Justice card coming out at all. And the fact it didn't come out in reverse, honey. Amongst the fact that she got those Earth Warrior cards, and let alone the Earth Warrior cards that she got specifically, all of that does indicate that Tamar has genuinely, this is what Spirit is saying, child, that Tamar has genuinely like kind of finally gotten the picture of like a lot of what's been said in this reading, of taking more accountability for her own healing. And so this Justice card, amongst a lot of the other channelings and cards that came out, is indication and Spirit saying that like she's on the right track. But the reason why it's sideways and the head is to the left is because there is likely still some blinding negativity going on in her neck of the woods, which means and this may also correlate with the message that came out about her
how it all
needing
comes
a deep
out and applies
spiritual cleanse, like something that is kind of
as we
reoccurring like over the course of
particular parts
months
of
or years, like
conflict
situations,
rumors, and
like for
things
instance
that
she
is
needs
and has been
how it was coming out, like she needs to type
in the
cleanse
media of
that like
girl
on 1 month she focuses on detoxing from.
But around that being said, if I do say so myself,
one type of
I have milk
impurity.
this
Then the next
cow
one is another type of impurity that she focuses on purging. And like I said, this card coming out
please do me
and the indications
like,
of the
share,
challenge
and
that is given.
subscribe.
She's
So you
already
can be one
on
of the
some
first to
sort
be
of path.
for the
And
next
so
time.
I'm not saying straight
And
up that
be
she
sure.
is, but I am picking up, okay, allegedly, Lee. Shout out to Alexander Rogers. I am picking up that she may be very likely working with a spiritual worker of some sort that is working very closely with her and advising her and help co-collabing with her and helping her carry out these cleanses and these purgings and these spiritual breakthroughs and such. So again, that's like indication going there. And like I said, the reason why it came out sideways and with the head to the left is because she's still in that process. She's still in that purging, cleansing process. So it's given on the right track, but she's still in the process. She hasn't totally broken through yet, but she's blinking on that light. All right. And there are still, what I'm picking up, there are still some upcoming conflicts and or some upcoming people that may be coming out of the woodwork trying to pull her into conflict. And those, what I'm hearing is will be like some extra tests, just some extra like final exams of like Spirit, the universe, the world, her higher self and lower self, trying to see, is she going to truly allow herself to welcome in the fruits that are written in the stars for her to experience in the basically final half of her life. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm hearing this sensing. We all up into it. It got deep, child. But I mean, it makes sense because, you know, how it's all come out. She's a very high-ranking spirit. She comes from spiritual royalty. And so that really, truly makes a hell of a lot of sense. And especially being the fact that she is a Pisces, which is a non-conforming sign. Amongst the biblical elements of her existence that came up as well. And all of that to say, what I'm sensing is that Tamar has it written in her high vibrational stars to live a very long, happy, abundant, soft, strengthfully soft life, at least by the age of 50. Like from 50 and going on, it's written in her high vibrational stars to live a very long, happy, victorious, vindicated life on some shit. And of course, nobody knows, you know, the ending, you know, type shit. But this is just what's channeling through the messages that, according to her spiritual construct and all of the messages and everything that came out, is giving that it was very much so meant for her to experience this life of tower moments for like the first half of her life. And then if she passed those tests, if she, accept that true frequency of justice that we've been talking about, and that true frequency of true love and unconditional grace for herself and things of that nature, she could be looking at a good time and a long time, at least by the age of 50 or somewhere like very, very, very close to it. Okay? And so again, that song is channeling through. The sun will come out tomorrow. But child, with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry, and I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.